Welcome back. It's the Flow Friday Sports Show here on Flow FM, and it's time for us to look at KNT Netball with just one more sleep until the season starts, and nobody more excited than Sally Bywater, who joins me on the line to preview the first round of games. Welcome, Sally. How are you?
I'm very well, and great to be back for another season.
Yes, we've done a couple of little previews, and we've had you on talking basketball earlier in the year, but no, this is it, the real deal now, netball season kicking off tomorrow. And of course, last year there were just 9 teams in this grade, or in the A grade of KNT Netball, but we've got 10 teams this year with Padthaway coming back up and entering an A grade team, but it's going to be short-lived because no Penola next year.
That's exactly right. So, we've obviously got the great 10-team contingent this year, but it's very sad to see Penola will be heading to the new Limestone Coast Football Netball League from next season. So, one more year with them, and they've been very successful and over 30 years with our league. So, we're sorely missed by all of us here.
Well, it'll be nice to have one season with no bye rounds and a full slate of 10 teams, but straight back to 9 teams next year. But to be fair, at local sport, most people probably don't mind having a bye every few weeks.
No, that's exactly right. I think, we probably all take for granted that we do get a bye every now and then, so it is quite good. But, hopefully our season's not too interrupted with other byes and weeks off. So, it'd be interesting to go back to, one season with, full contingent, then next year back to 9 teams. Yeah,
it's not quite like the AFL where in past years where there's been byes and, when your team's on a bye, you're filthy because you just want to sit down and watch them play and you have to watch someone else instead. But no, for the athletes, it's very refreshing getting a bye. So we will have no bye this year, but back to it next year. But let's get into the first round of games for 2024, and the season is kicking off with Border Districts and Kingston. That's where we're going to start our preview. So Border Districts, they were in the finals in the mix last year, right around the top for most of the year, ended up finishing 4th, and Kingston were down the bottom with just 2 wins for the year. So have Kingston done anything over the off-season, do you think, to close that gap?
Yeah, I think they have. They've recruited a couple of players this year. So a previous best under 21 in our league, Tara and Nicole, have moved from Lucendale to Kingston. So that's a big pickup by them, which is great to see. They've recruited up a few of their junior players in Tara, Pink and Abby Mills, so they'll bring some youth to this team, and then there's another couple of new players as well, so which I haven't seen and don't know much about. So they're going to, not quite sure what they look like, but I think they'll be really red hot and ready to go. And Border District, on the other hand, they themselves have picked up about 3 players from Edenhope Apsley, the Apsley team that's come over, so who've all played senior A-grade netball over there. So they've also recruited well in the mix again. So I think these 2 teams will be ones to watch this year, and very excited to see them.
Okay, could easily be two teams rather on the rise this year, but I think there's probably 10 teams who are expecting to be on the rise this year before any games have been played. So we'll just have to see how that one plays out, shaping up as a nice, interesting matchup. And in our next one, it's Bordertown taking on Keith, and it's a similar sort of a story. One of the finals teams from last year against one of the teams down the bottom. Keith, of course, finishing on top, but losing in the grand final. And Bordertown, well, right there with Kingston, just 2 wins for the year last year. So obviously Keith are going to be very, very keen to go one step further this year, and they're probably going to start the season pretty strong.
Absolutely, and I think they'll be up there again this year. So again, another team that has been strengthened by a couple of players that haven't played for a few years due to pregnancy and injury. So that's only going to help them coming back in with Mia Harper, Erica Lamont and Kelly Jones, so which will be fantastic to see. And then they've got another couple of players come back from Adelaide, Melanie Macon and Sophie Macon, and just a couple of the usual regulars in Whitney Smith and Macy Lewin, so they'll be great again this year, and I'm presuming they will finish up in those top positions again. Bordertown, on the other hand, they're pretty settled from the last season. They've got basically the same team back, so hopefully the year under their belt they might progress a bit further.
No doubt there'll be a bit of internal growth there for Bordertown, so we'll see if they can rise up the ranks, and we'll see if Keith can go one step further than they did last year. Moving on, it's Kaiby Bolite taking on Lucendale. Now, this one's really fascinating to me. These 2 teams were very evenly matched all through last year. Both made finals. but didn't quite progress as far as they would have liked. They were right on the cusp of being two real contenders. But, yeah, two teams right in the middle and maybe ready to go further this year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, we couldn't split these two very much last season between them. They had some good teams play and played a really good team game. So I'm not quite sure. Kylie Bywater are again under the guidance of Charlie Tahini, who's one of our great coaches down here in our league. So she'll be raring to go with her team. And Nicole Hockey, a new coach at Lucendale, pretty similar team to last season. Lost a couple due to pregnancy, but they've got a few new young ones in. So, yeah, two match up, and I'm great to see this game.
All right, and Penola are kicking off their final season in the KNT Netball Association with a matchup against Mundalla. So Penola, the reigning premiers, looking to go back-to-back as they look towards the Limestone Coast League next year.
Yeah, there's been another team great to see. Maddie Teakle's taking on the reins of Penola this season, so she's a new coach for them. And she's had a year off through pregnancy, so she'll be great, and looking forward to the season ahead. And at Mundalla, Emily Burgess, a new coach there for Mundalla, and she's recruited a couple of players there, her and her club, and some few players back. So these two teams will be a great matchup, and I think these will be two teams come September will be fighting it out in finals.
Okay, and our last matchup for the first round, and this might just be the one that actually intrigues me the most. It's Padthaway taking on Narracourt. Now, Padthaway obviously didn't have a team in the A grade last year, so there'll be a little bit of an unknown quantity. And Narracourt, they just missed out on finals last year, but they were dominant against some of the bottom teams and couldn't quite stick it to the top team. So they were a bit of a mystery last year, Narracourt, and they certainly could be one to contend this year. What do you think of these two teams heading into this matchup?
Of course, yeah, Padthaway obviously is very unknown. We're not quite sure what they're going to bring, not having a team last year. But they have recruited well. They've recruited Caitlin Ward, who used to play at Kingston. She's an association representative from last season, so that's a good pickup for Padthaway, as well as Casey and Indy Venables from Penola. So a great start to their lineup there with three players coming in and have got A-grade experience. Narracourt have got a very young side this year, which is great to see, under the guidance of new coach Georgie Stott. So really looking forward to what they can produce. And there's a lot of youth on their side. I think they'll be very competitive this season again.
All right, we've got new players, we've got new coaches, we've got old faces in new places, we've got all sorts of things happening with all 10 of these teams in KNT Netball. So it's going to be a fascinating season. We can't read too much into last year's results because everything's so different this year. But, yeah, very excited to see how it plays out this year. Just one more note on Padthaway, Sally. With them, they had a B grade but not an A grade team last year. Are a lot of last year's B graders coming up and playing A grade, or is it more that they've recruited players to come in and play A grade?
Yeah, both, I think. Now, I think they've probably recruited half the side, and there'll be a few stepping up plus a few youngsters. So I think this will be a great depth as well as a bit of youth. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how they plan out the season.
All right, well, they're going to be an interesting one to watch, as are each of the other 9 teams in the comp, because it was a thrilling competition last year. We had close games, we had upsets, we had everything, and it's going to be much the same this year, and it all kicks off tomorrow. Sally, whereabouts are you going to be tomorrow? I'm assuming you'll be somewhere on a netball court.
Yes, I'll be at the Bordertown and Keiths game, so really looking forward to those two sides kicking off the 2024 season, and yeah, I'll be right there courtside for the A-grade game.
All right, fantastic. Well, enjoy, all the best, and I'm looking forward to getting your review of that game and all of the other action when we speak to you again next week. Enjoy the netball and have a great weekend.
We will do. Thank you very much.